Hey everyone, how's it going? I'm gonna whisper through this one here because my wife's asleep and I don't want her to hear it. But this is probably the most important post I've posted so far in terms of just me helping others out going through this process at some point in time, which will happen after I have my miraculous recovery over the next 8 months. Um, Let me start off by saying that this is more so about just how to handle your care, and I'm going to kind of tell you about who I am for a minute. You all know I have this eye issue, and I guess even through watching the video, you might notice that one of my eyes is off. When I was about 6 years old, I used to go to a medical clinic with my mother, who used to work at the medical clinic, and they would look at my eye and kind of wonder and gawk about, oh, this is a very, very rare situation. Mrs. Green, can we have some other students look at your son? And she said, yeah, she worked as well. And she said, no problem. It was a free clinic for the free for us because she worked upstairs in the emergency room. And so they'd bring me outside and they'd sit me down and give me eye drops, which always bothered me. So this one particular nurse, which I'll never forget, heavy-set Caucasian lady with the little nurse hat on, back in the day they did that. She would come out and she'd sit on my legs and people would hold me down and give me eye drops. I absolutely positively hated it. Um, but they do the eye drops and then they'd go back inside and let them settle in, and then 5 or 6 different eye doctors would come in and they'd do the same eye test on me over again. They'd make me follow my finger like this, and they'd go like this, and they'd watch my eye, and they'd do this, and they'd watch how it tracks different ways as I followed my finger. And the different part was that with my type of eye disease, it my vision is fine. Um, it's only off the way my eye points, which is why I'm 44 years old and I don't wear glasses. My eyes work fine. My brain thinks I'm looking straight, um, and I see things perfectly fine. It's crazy. But most people who have this, the eye doesn't see fine, and they use just one eye. I use two. So once again, I'm born with some rare disease that I still have today. The issue really was that this happened like every 6 months to a year, from like 6 to like 11 or 12 years old. And I hated when they used to sit on me and do this whole eye drop thing, and they'd file in because it was a teaching hospital and they'd go through all this stuff. I hated it. So one year I said to my mother, Mom, there's no fix for my eye, is there? She goes, no, there isn't. And I'm like, so why do we keep doing this? She goes, well, I work there and, I don't want to upset anybody. I said, Mom, can I please not do this anymore if they're not going to fix it? And she said no. I was around 11 or 12. So now it's like 1981, 82. Um, I didn't have anyone look at my eye and question that ever again, other than going for my school physical. No one ever really talked to me, or I allowed anyone to talk to me until I was 23. I met a frat brother of mine who was an eye doctor specialist, and it was my first event at a fraternity event, and he was speaking, and he was a eye specialist. He walks over to me and says, "You have Duane syndrome, don't you? There's a fix for that. I can fix it for you." And I said, "What?" And we talked for a few minutes, and I said, I've gotten comfortable with this because of the whole scenario. I gave him the whole thing about how he used to me and retired me, and he said, "I agree, no problem. If you're seeing fine, leave it alone." And to this day, I'm 44 years old, and I've never had it fixed. It's kind of a reminder for me of some things. Um, but that's the first issue where I learned that you need to start to take charge of your medical career. And as things happen to you, that was the first time. I was 11 years old, and I went through that from at least 6 to 11. Yeah, I'm not sure how, but every 6 months, maybe 8 months, they schedule you for another eye visit, as if you had glasses. And I knew I wasn't getting any glasses. I knew I wasn't getting any help. It was going to be the same thing. And in school, it was always, "What's wrong with your eye?" and all the eye jokes I had for years. So I'm gonna try and keep this short, but it's probably not gonna be short because there's a lot I have to tell you with this one. It's an extremely important update. So let's fast forward now to the year 2000, and I'm I'm in a hospital room now, delivering my second child with my wife. We're actually in the same room at Mercy Hospital in Baltimore that we delivered Sir 16 months before. And the attending physician is the person who was the resident for delivering Sir, Dr. Wang. And I know her, we talked a little bit, and she's like, wow, I remember you guys. Yeah. And Sonny's inside there, and Sir is actually in the room, and they botched a whole bunch of things up on this whole thing. So we were in the triage room for like 3 hours. My wife's huffing and puffing in triage. They were botching this whole thing up wrong. We finally got to a room, and in the room right now is 2 doctors and 3 nurses. And my wife has been in there now for I think about 4 hours in triage. We just came to our room, and I'm helping her breathe and go over her process. We're doing natural childbirth, and the nurses are over laughing and cackling away. The doctors are talking. No one's paying attention to my wife. I'm holding her hand, going through all of our breathing exercises and our Lamaze stuff, and doing the natural childbirth to make this happen. And one of my wife's downtime, she's like, "What is going on here? This is a circus." I turn around, and I'm like, "What are y'all joking about?" I say, Dr. Wang, here's the deal. Who has to be in this room? You plus who else? That's it. She goes, "Oh, Mr. Green, just me and this person here." I turn to everyone. "Hey, 1, 2, 3, out now. This is not a joke. It's not a circus. My wife's giving birth to my child right now. This is serious. Please leave. Dr. Wang says who stays. That's it." That was a turning point in my medical career. I don't take shorts when I'm dealing with medical issues. I don't. I put everybody out of that room that day. They all left. And within a few minutes, we delivered Sunday, and it was great. My mother-in-law was also inside the room. Either my mother-in-law or my grandmother-in-law was there. And Dr. Wang was like, "Mr. Green, you go ahead." That's what she said. "Mr. Green, you go ahead. You have the right to do that. This is your show, your child." And that's the bottom line. When you're in a medical situation, doctors know best, yes, but you have to still be alert in order to manage the care that happens around you. It's important that you do. And as a result of that, our next children and the next 4 weren't born in a hospital. So I was like, I'm not doing it. We delivered our kids at home. I got a chance to catch my own kids and pull the cord from my neck and scoop them out. That's a whole other story. It's absolutely fantastic if you can do that. I'm not going to go into that, but that's just me. And wanting to enjoy the medical experience and the giving birth experience of 4 more kids, and that's a whole other video clip. All right, so why am I telling you all this? Fast forward to today. If you watched all the videos, you saw that one of my nurses was leaving today, and actually one left last night. When I say left, I mean they changed shifts. They're on like 3 days, 12-hour shifts, and they change over. And even with my current nurse, when you met earlier, his name is Andre, I had to school him on some things. When you're in here for any period of time, you really need to know what they're giving you. You need to know when they're going to give it to you, how much they're supposed to give you, when they're supposed to change things on the little chart thing over here, the little machine I showed you earlier. Because they make mistakes, they're human. And sometimes too, they also have feelings, and maybe they don't want to do something here, or they don't want to call a doctor there. This is your care. And no matter how long you live, at some point in time, you're going to end up in a hospital. I am 44 years old, and this is actually the first time that I have ever ended up in a hospital for anything. On the 27th, when I got my first little figuring out of what this is, that was the first time I ever had an IV. So for me, that's great. I've been in the hospital a ton of times with my wife for different things. Well, this is the first